Why did they say they put you in prison?
The reason they stated was AWOL. They kind of stripped away all the other stuff, and obviously they rolled over on the desertion charge and all the disobeying orders charges, which was for speaking to the media. And they brought it down to an AWOL and kind of tried to keep it fairly subdued. Like, no, you're just in for AWOL, and essentially ignore all the other stuff, despite the protesters outside and the 200 letters a day. So it's a bit of intellectual dishonesty, I think, on their part.
Yeah.
So the guys who I met were fairly complimentary about it, and even the ones who didn't fully agree or didn't fully understand the politics said, fair one, if that's your view, then you should pursue it, and you should be able to pursue it. You should certainly be able to speak out. If you're supposedly, a soldier who's been to Afghanistan protecting freedoms that we're, imposing upon those people, you should have that right yourself. But if anything, it provided a focal point, I think, and that's got to be positive. And even the people who are against it, whether you're for or against, the debate, it fueled the debate, and if you're talking about it, then you're considering it and mulling it over, and something good has to come out of that.
Yeah.
At least people then might take a stronger position and find out the facts of the situation. So it's all positives from my perspective. In the end, they called me out for AWOL. Obviously, they forced me into that position because they wouldn't listen to my request to register for conscientious objection, and they wouldn't take into account my medical condition. But people now are more aware of the fact they can register through this instruction number 6, which the Army keeps very, very quiet, which is the facility or the process by which you can register. So maybe hopefully there'll be a few more Joe Glentons come through. The potential's there. People in the military are tired of it. They're sick of it, and they've, same as the rest of the population, have reached the point where they're going, well, why are we there? Because none of the explanations tally up. Not even the coalition at the moment with 13th Century Fox and Haig and Cameron. Even their explanations don't add up, and they're supposedly on the same team with colleagues. So the excuses aren't rubbing anymore. It's just not working. I was called a coward and a malingerer when I tried to raise it, and it is a right. Well, I didn't know the full ins and outs of it, but I said I didn't agree with this conflict and I wasn't willing to go. But obviously they didn't accept that. If they had, if you'll excuse me, if they had pulled their finger out at that point, they could have saved themselves a lot of hassle. But they didn't. And the rest is history.
Bad question. But surely this exists. This particular piece of law exists.
It does
so they
exist.
Just didn't.
Yeah, but potentially they didn't even know about it. But clearly there must be some kind of facility, and these people are highly paid senior non-commissioned officers and officers. They should know the facilities there, but it's kept very, very quiet. It's instruction number 6. The only time you'll see it is if you're a reservist or TA and you're called up to go on tour, and then on the papers, on the paperwork, it says that you have the option to not go on the basis of conscience. But the regular army is kept very, very quiet indeed.
And what kind of support did you have when you were in prison?
Fantastic, unbelievable support. The guys were brilliant. There was a period they went through when they'd all chant "Free Joe Glenton" on parades, and probably half to just annoy the staff, and half joking maybe, but it was brilliant for me. And they commended me for what I'd done. It was fantastic, and I didn't fully expect that though. I had a lot of support before I went inside from my colleagues, and they said, "Well, I wish I'd done it. We support it, or if that's what you think, then you should do that." But yeah, it was unbelievable. It made it go quicker, and it made it a lot easier to have that support there. Even if it's just, maybe part of it was just to see someone kick back at the system. There was a lot of that there, because a lot of those guys have been very, very hard done by and mistreated. And there was also a fairly prominent section of that group who really supported what I was doing. There's always that spectre, they call it. I've heard it called the spectre of the 3 million in 2003, I believe it was, when I was actually joining the army. That still haunts the government and the establishment, certainly, but there needs to be a wider movement. It needs to grow, and I think the situation now has spread where people who otherwise wouldn't have particularly been involved or concerned about the issues are becoming concerned, because for all the lies in the media and the stuff they make up to try and cover for it, we're stuck there, and we're there because we went there on the coattails of America and we can't get out. That's why. So we've got stuck in that mire. And the excuses are running fairly thin at the moment. It's looking very, very shaky. But just a more cohesive kind of movement, and we need to spread it.
And the British troops have left Sangin, haven't they? It's just like a withdrawal. They're not even...
It is a withdrawal. Liam Fox used some quite strong language about how anyone who doubted that it was a kind of strategic move was contemptible, but the man's full of stuff. You know what I mean? It is a withdrawal, and it's coming apart. It's no reflection on the troops because they simply cannot do it with inept management. If it could be done, I'm sure those men could have done. There's people I know who've died in Sangin, the Valley of Death, we used to call it. It's a fairly volatile part of the country, but I think it's just the start. It's just the start. It's collapsing and it's coming apart. There's no doubt.
Is there a last message is there a message that you have for people right out of prison? I mean, you know, you're right out of this after months of being, you know, in there unjustly. Is there something that you want to say?
Well, for me, it was absolutely worth it. I'd do another 4 months and another 4 months after that, happily, just to raise the profile of the campaign and the movement. And I found it almost therapeutic to antagonise the state and put them on display like that and force errors out of them, which is what we did. And when at the start of this, they were talking about putting me away for something up to 50 years with all the charges. With all the charges together under the new Act as well, and they didn't. They rolled over. For me, that's a massive victory, which couldn't have happened without the massive public support that I've had. And it's really made it easier for me. It's made me feel like I'm on the crest of a wave at times. And I wasn't alone, not for a single day in there, especially not when those people were camped outside every second Sunday, and I knew they were there. And they locked down the prison because there were people walking around the perimeter with signs. It was immense. So I'd just like to thank everyone for their support. Cheers.